Welcome back to Xcoin Hub. If you have this coin sitting in your drawer or hidden inside an old jar of pennies, you might be holding something that could change your life. Because one simple 1-cent coin, minted in 1990, has made ordinary people thousands, and in one rare case, over $100,000 richer. It looks just like any other penny, right? Brown copper tone, Lincoln's face on one side, the familiar Lincoln Memorial on the back. But hidden in plain sight, there's a mystery, one that only the sharpest collectors have managed to uncover. Back in 1990, the United States Mint was producing billions of pennies. They were ordinary, everyday coins, meant to circulate in grocery stores, schools, gas stations, and candy shops across the nation. Most people never gave them a second glance. But somewhere inside that year's production, a small mistake happened, so small that it went unnoticed for years. Yet that tiny detail would turn a 1-cent coin into a collector's dream. Let's go back to how this coin came to be. The 1990 1-cent coin was part of the long-running Lincoln series, which began in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1990, the design was already iconic. Victor David Brenner's portrait of Lincoln on the obverse, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, and that unmistakable coppery sheen. But by this point, most pennies weren't even made of real copper anymore. Since 1982, the mint had switched to a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper, cheaper to make, lighter to carry, but nearly identical in appearance. Now here's where things get interesting. The mint operates with precision, but even the most advanced systems can make errors. And in the world of coin collecting, those errors are pure gold. A few 1990 pennies were struck using dies meant for proof coins, coins that are supposed to be made for collectors, not for circulation. These proof coins were made in San Francisco and carried a tiny S mint mark just below the date. But some of the proof dies ended up being used without the mint mark. The result? The rare 1990 no S Lincoln centodd. At first, no one noticed. Pennies moved from mint to bank, from bank to pocket, from pocket to cash register, and into circulation as usual. It wasn't until a few years later that a sharp-eyed collector spotted something strange. A 1990 proof penny without the S mint mark. Word spread quickly among numismatists. People started checking their coin jars, their old proof sets, their piggy banks, anything that might hide one of these mysterious no-mint mark coins. The discovery caused a quiet storm in the coin world. The U.S. Mint had accidentally released a batch of proof coins missing their identifying mark, and because these coins were never supposed to reach collectors or the public, their rarity instantly skyrocketed. Estimates vary, but experts believe only a few hundred of these error coins exist, and that's what makes them so valuable. But beyond the error itself, the story of the 1990 1-cent coin captures something deeper. It's a reminder that history and fortune often hide in the smallest details. This was a time before digital scanning, before most collectors had online communities to share information instantly. Finding an error like this meant you had to be observant, patient, and a little lucky. It was the kind of discovery that made everyday life suddenly thrilling. Proof that even an object as ordinary as a penny could hold a secret worth a small fortune. Imagine holding one of these in your hand today. It feels like any other penny, light, metallic, easily forgotten. But once you notice the missing S, it becomes something entirely different. A tiny piece of minting history, a mistake that turned into a miracle. And if you were to sell it, well, you'd be amazed at just how much that little coin could be worth. Collectors today prize these coins not only for their rarity, but also for their pristine condition. Because they were proof coins, they were made with extra care, mirror-like surfaces, sharp edges, and crisp details. Most of them never entered circulation, but those that did have become legendary. Finding one in a drawer, an old coin album, or even mixed with spare change is like winning a miniature lottery. Over the years, stories have emerged of people discovering these coins by accident. Someone cleaning out a relative's collection. Another person opening an old proof set from 1990 only to notice the missing mint mark. Each discovery is like uncovering a forgotten treasure, one that links the past to the present in the most unexpected way. And while most 1990 pennies are only worth face value, this one, this rare no mint mark beauty, stands out as a gem among billions. It's a coin that proves even the smallest mistake can lead to extraordinary value. For collectors, it's more than money. It's history captured in metal, a tangible reminder of how precision and error can coexist in fascinating ways. So next time you come across a 1990 penny, don't just toss it aside. Hold it up to the light. Look carefully under the date. Is there an S mark? If there isn't, you might just be staring at one of the rarest modern coins ever struck in the United States. And now, the part you've been waiting for, the value. In pristine condition, the 1990 No S Lincoln cent has been known to reach an astonishing price, up to $108,000, that's right. A single penny worth just 1 cent when it left the mint has become a life-changing treasure. So before you spend your change, take a second look, because that small, forgotten coin could be your unexpected path to fortune. When you think about it, it's almost unbelievable that something as small as a mint mark could create such a massive difference in value. But that's the beauty of numismatics, the study of coins. Every tiny mark, every engraving, every design change tells a story. And in the case of the 1990 1-cent coin, that missing letter tells a story of mystery, chance, and fate. Picture this. It's 1990. Inside the San Francisco Mint, proof coins are being carefully made. The machines hum with precision, striking brilliant mirror-polished coins destined for collectors. Each die is supposed to carry the small S mint mark, a sign that it was made right there in San Francisco. But among the countless strikes that year, something went slightly off. Maybe a die was prepared too quickly. Maybe someone didn't notice a small engraving missing before production began. Whatever the reason, a few proof dies were left without their mint mark. And those dies were used to create one of the rarest coins in modern U.S. history. Imagine the moment that first error coin was struck. No one in the mint realized it. The machines pressed the shiny blank metal discs with perfect force, imprinting Lincoln's face and the Lincoln Memorial on the other side. Flawless in every way but one. The S beneath the date was missing. That single oversight transformed an ordinary coin into a priceless collectible. For years, those coins sat unnoticed, hidden among thousands of regular proof sets. Collectors opened their packages, admired the gleaming coins, and placed them in albums without a second thought. No one had a clue they were handling a piece of minting history. It wasn't until years later, when a curious collector examined a set under magnification, that the truth came to light. And when word spread, it was like a spark in dry grass. Quiet at first, then unstoppable. The discovery reignited excitement about coins in America. Suddenly, people everywhere were checking their old sets and jars, hoping to find the same hidden treasure. Schools, homes, and shops saw renewed fascination with coins, proof that curiosity can transform something as ordinary as a penny into a piece of history. But beyond its rarity, this coin carries something more, a connection to Lincoln himself. Think about that for a second. Abraham Lincoln's image has graced the penny for more than a century, a symbol of honesty, humility, and perseverance. The 1990 1-cent coin, with its hidden flaw, somehow mirrors the same lesson Lincoln's life taught. That imperfection doesn't diminish value. It can make something truly special. Even the smallest mistake can leave a mark that stands the test of time. Collectors today view the 1990 no mint mark penny almost like a legend. It's not just about metal or design, it's about history frozen in copper and zinc. Each coin tells a story about human craftsmanship, attention to detail, and the beautiful unpredictability of mistakes. Some of these rare coins have been discovered in sealed sets, others passed down through families without anyone realizing their worth. Imagine opening an old wooden drawer, finding a dusty proof set from your grandparents, and suddenly spotting the missing. Show that heartbeat moment when you realize what you're holding, then it's the kind of thrill that coin collectors live for. Numismatic experts still debate how many of these coins actually exist. Some estimate a few hundred. Others think fewer than 200 may have survived in perfect condition. Each one is examined carefully. The mirror finish, the sharp edges, the distinct strike. Every tiny detail matters because when a coin like this appears, authenticity means everything, and while most coins lose their shine and fade into obscurity, The 1990 1-cent no-S Lincoln has done the opposite. Its legend grows with time. The longer it survives, the rarer it becomes. For collectors, owning one is like holding lightning in a bottle, a piece of history born from accident but preserved through passion. The coin itself remains humble in size, just 19 millimeters in diameter, barely the weight of a paperclip. Yet inside that small circle lies a story of American precision, human oversight, and extraordinary luck. Some people spend their lives searching for treasure in gold mines or antique shops, but for coin collectors, treasure is often found in the quietest places, in change jars, in forgotten drawers, in the smallest corners of history. So if you ever come across a 1990 penny, take a moment before you let it go. Look closely. Run your thumb across the date. Search for that tiny mint mark under Lincoln's portrait. Because if it's missing, you may just be holding one of the rarest coins ever created by the United States Mint. And that little coin, worth only 1 cent to the world, could be worth a fortune to you, as much as $108,000. If you have a 1984 penny sitting somewhere in your drawer, you might want to take a closer look, because that little copper coin could make you a lot richer than you ever imagined. Yes, a single 1-cent coin from 1984 has turned ordinary people into overnight success stories. It's one of those incredible cases where a tiny minting mistake created something so rare, so special, that collectors across the world would pay astonishing amounts to own it. At first glance, it looks completely normal. The same familiar copper tone, the same portrait of Abraham Lincoln looking confidently ahead. Most people would never notice anything unusual about it. After all, pennies from the 1980s are everywhere, common, ordinary, practically forgotten. But this particular coin hides something so subtle that even experts took years to discover it. To understand why this coin is so valuable, we need to go back to 1984, a time when the U.S. Mint was running at full speed. Billions of pennies were struck that year, mostly at the Philadelphia Mint. It was an era before advanced computer controls or automated laser inspections. Coins were produced fast and in huge numbers, which meant that sometimes small mistakes slipped through unnoticed. And that's exactly what happened. The 1984 penny that changed everything came from a simple human error, a double die. For those who don't know, a double die error happens when the coin die, the metal stamp used to strike the coin's image, shifts slightly during production. That tiny movement causes the details of the design to be impressed twice, creating a doubled image. It's barely visible to the naked eye, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's what makes the 1984 Lincoln cent so fascinating. Collectors call it the 1984 double die obverse. On this coin, you can see the doubling most clearly in Lincoln's ear. It looks as if he has two ears, one perfectly formed and another faintly behind it. It's a tiny detail, almost ghostly, but it changes everything. That small doubling made this ordinary penny one of the most famous and valuable coins of the 1980s. Imagine the scene back then. Mint workers going about their routines, machines clanking, the smell of hot metal and oil filling the air. Somewhere in that process, a single die slipped. A few hundred coins were struck before anyone noticed. And those few hundred escaped into circulation, mixed in with billions of ordinary pennies hidden in plain sight. For years, nobody realized it. People used those coins to buy candy, soda, maybe a newspaper. Kids tossed them into piggy banks. They jingled in pockets and coffee jars for decades, quietly waiting for someone to notice their secret. And then, one day, someone did. A collector spotted something strange while examining a batch of 1984 pennies. He noticed the doubling on Lincoln's ear and sent it for professional grading. Experts confirmed the find. It was a genuine double die error. The discovery sent a shockwave through the numismatic world. The 1984 double die penny had been found, and it instantly became a legend. After that, collectors everywhere began searching their change. People dug through jars, emptied drawers, and checked every penny they could find. And while some managed to uncover these rare errors, only a small number survived in excellent condition. Those pristine examples became the crown jewels of private collections. The beauty of this story is how it reminds us that fortune can hide in the most ordinary places. Something as small and overlooked as a penny can hold a piece of history, and sometimes unimaginable value. This coin is a perfect example of that. It wasn't made of gold or silver. It wasn't designed to be rare. It was born out of imperfection, a small human oversight that transformed it into something extraordinary. The 1984 penny also carries the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, a man who symbolized resilience, honesty, and transformation. It's poetic, really. Just as Lincoln rose from humble beginnings to greatness, this little coin, once worth a single cent, rose from obscurity to become a treasure worth thousands. Collectors love this coin not just for its rarity, but for its story. The story of a simple object that turned out to be a hidden masterpiece. Each detail tells part of that story. The sharp lines of Lincoln's profile, the clear doubling around the ear, the faint luster of aged copper. Every mark reminds us that perfection isn't always what creates value. Sometimes, it's the flaw that makes something truly special. For those who collect coins, finding one of these 1984 double die pennies is like discovering buried treasure. It's not just a coin. It's a piece of American history frozen in metal. It connects generations, from the mint workers who unknowingly made it to the collectors who spend years searching for it. It's a reminder that even the smallest things can hold stories of incredible worth. So if you have a jar of old coins at home, don't overlook those 1984 pennies. Take a moment, hold them up to the light. Look closely at Lincoln's ear. You might see that faint doubled image, that quiet mistake that changed everything. Because that tiny flaw could mean you're holding one of the rarest pennies in modern U.S. history. And here's the part that will make you look twice. A flawless 1984 double die penny has been known to reach values as high as $108,000. Yes, a single penny, the smallest denomination in American currency, once used to buy a piece of gum, could now buy a luxury car or even a house. That's the magic of the 1984 1-cent coin. Proof that sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest surprises. If you've ever tossed a penny aside thinking it was worthless, this story will make you think again. Because one ordinary-looking 1995 U.S. penny, the kind you might find in your pocket or a forgotten jar of change, has made people rich beyond their imagination. It looks just like every other coin, small, copper-colored, easy to overlook. But hidden in its design lies a rare mistake that transformed it into one of the most valuable modern pennies ever discovered. To understand the secret behind this tiny piece of treasure, we need to step back in time to the mid-1990s, a period when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of 1-cent coins every single year. By 1995, technology had advanced, and coin production was faster than ever before. But with speed came risk. Even the slightest mechanical shift, a tiny misalignment or an unnoticed vibration in the die could create an error. And in the world of coin collecting, those rare errors are worth their weight in gold. The 1995 Lincoln cent may seem ordinary to most people, but for collectors, one small detail makes it legendary. It's known as the 1995 doubled die obverse, a coin with a distinct doubling effect on the front side. Especially in the words liberty and in God we trust. The doubling is so clear that even without magnification, it looks like the letters were struck twice. And that's exactly what happened. A double die occurs when the die that stamps the coin design is engraved twice at slightly different angles. In 1995, this rare misalignment happened at the Philadelphia Mint. The machines continued striking thousands of coins before anyone realized what was going on. These coins slipped into circulation like nothing had happened, mixed with millions of regular pennies, vanishing into the daily lives of ordinary Americans. For years, nobody noticed. These pennies passed through grocery stores, school lunch lines, gas stations, and coin jars. They jingled in pockets, dropped between couch cushions, and were handed to cashiers without a second thought, until one day, a sharp-eyed collector spotted something strange. The words on his 1995 penny looked blurry, doubled, almost as if they were vibrating. He examined it closer and realized it wasn't damage. It was a minting error. And not just any error, a perfectly struck double die, clear and dramatic. When the news broke, collectors all over the country began checking their change. People who had never cared about coins suddenly became treasure hunters overnight. Banks were flooded with people exchanging bills for rolls of pennies, hoping to find that one lucky coin. Some found faint examples, while others discovered beautifully preserved, sharply doubled specimens that would later become priceless. What makes this coin so captivating isn't just its rarity, but the story it tells about chance. How something as mundane as a penny can carry an invisible secret for decades. Every mark on this coin, every tiny doubled letter, is a frozen moment in minting history, an accident that no one planned, yet one that would eventually captivate millions. To collectors, the 1995 double die penny is a masterpiece of imperfection. It represents the fragile line between precision and error, between what's ordinary and what's extraordinary. The doubling effect gives the coin an almost 3D appearance, as if Lincoln himself stands out a little more, his words echoing across time. It's as though the coin itself wants to be noticed, to remind us that sometimes even the smallest things can have the loudest stories. Most people who have found this coin didn't even know what they had at first. There are stories of children discovering one in change from a vending machine, or an elderly man cleaning out his drawer only to spot the strange doubling under a lamp. Some found them in old coin rolls that hadn't been touched in years. Each discovery came with disbelief, then excitement, and finally, realization. They weren't just holding a penny, they were holding history. Even today, these coins are hard to find, especially in mint condition. Many were used and worn over the years, losing their sharp details. But a small number survived in pristine form, kept safe in coin albums or proof sets. These are the coins that collectors dream of, the ones that have remained untouched since the day they left the mint. Think about that for a second. A coin worth 1 cent, the smallest denomination in American money, created through a mistake so tiny that it could only happen once in a generation. Yet today, that same mistake has made this coin one of the most sought-after treasures in numismatic history. Every time you hold a penny, you're holding a piece of America's story. But this one, the 1995 double die, tells a story of luck, patience, and discovery. It reminds us that fortune doesn't always shine brightly. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, waiting for someone with curiosity to notice. So the next time you pick up a penny, take a second look. Hold it close to the light. Look at the word liberty, at the phrase, "In God we trust." If the letters seem doubled, if they shimmer with a faint echo, you might just be holding one of the rarest modern coins in existence. And now, the part you've been waiting for. The value. A flawless 1995 double die penny, perfectly preserved and graded in the highest condition, has been known to reach an unbelievable price, up to $108,000. That's right. A single coin, worth just 1 cent to most people, has turned into a treasure worth more than a luxury car, more than years of savings, all because of a beautiful mistake. So before you let your spare change slip away, remember this story. Because that small, overlooked coin in your pocket might just hold the power to change your life forever.